Yeah. Okay. So, hello, Tess. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm great, thanks, Mia. It's really exciting to be here chatting to you about such an interesting topic that you've invited me to take part in.
And it's great. You know, this is interesting having you on the other side of the mic for a change, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You know. Right. So, thank you so much for agreeing to be part of this interview process that I'm doing as a series with a group of people over a few weeks, looking at how the experience of lockdown and the regulations around COVID-19 have impacted on their personal, family and work lives, but also the benefits that it's brought into their lives. And one of the reasons that I'm doing this, Tess, is because of my own personal experience, which, you know, was really quite emotionally and mentally challenging for me earlier on. And I really struggled with that, and I struggled to reach out. But it also helped me address all these emotional and mental blocks that were preventing me from moving forward in my life. So, but in that process, Tess, I realised that there's hundreds of people in utter confusion and bound up in pressure, you know, in these feelings of pressure to do something and not knowing what to do. But we're also going into that transition of people going back into work. And some people are really uncertain about that process. Some of them don't want to go back in the same thing. They're just really uncertain. But they're also worried about and concerned about what life is going to look like. What's it going to look like going back in? What's the future hold for them? But in that same process, Tess, there are these groups of people who have had the most amazing benefits out of this process. And it's really opened up opportunities for self-development that they might not ordinarily have been able to explore had it not been for this extraordinary situation. Now, I met you, Tess, about a year and a half ago now. I can't believe it's a year and a half, when I first moved back to Aberdeen from England, and you gave me the motivation to kind of get my business restarted again. And I'm wondering, Tess, because you're a business owner and you own Mindblox, which is your life coaching, and it's so much more than just life coaching as well. And you're all about mindset and positive thinking and really transforming people's lives. And I wonder, Tess, if I could invite you to tell us a little bit about, to start with, how this situation affected your work life.
Wow. Okay. Well, I suppose for me, a lot of it was around my mindset to start off with. I heard about this whole thing happening and I thought, what's that going to be like? Oh my goodness, I've got to change the way I do my business. And I know a lot of people in Aberdeen want to work face to face. So how am I going to do that? But then we had this wonderful platform that came around and everybody went on it. And suddenly I am coaching people online. But what happened for me was I decided to take this opportunity without all the distraction from the outside world and use it as an opportunity to look at my business and grow it and go back to school and do some extra learning and everything. So that was one of the core things that I focused on with my business. And, you know, 4 months in, I'm noticing a massive shift in the kind of clients I'm getting, and also the way I'm delivering my coaching. It's kind of really upped its game in a way. So from a work perspective, it's been really a very positive thing for me.
Yeah, that sounds really great, actually, Tess, because it's like it's opened up a whole other avenues. You just, you know, it's like a creative. It's like it's brought up a whole other way for you to deliver what people need, isn't it? That sounds really great. So, as you say, you're able to deliver something in a whole way, and it's opened up something else for you, Tess.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us?
What's also been really amazing is that the people that are coming and seeking help are wanting to work on their own goals. They've found that there's time, that they can actually focus on things that perhaps before they wouldn't have time for. So that's been really good. And because coaching is a very forward action orientated, looking ahead kind of work, it's not like counseling where we're looking into the deep dark past. It's been very much about what do you want to achieve and how do you get there. So it's been exciting.
Yeah, I know that's great. And as you say, people have looked for this is a time where they're looking at what they want to do in their lives. It's kind of it's made them sit back. So as you say, looking at goals, but in a different way. Yeah, and you're kind of helping them explore that. That sounds like there's been a two-way process there.
It's
One helping the other.
Yes, well, I agree, because for me, everything has to be win-win. Even when I'm in a transaction with a client, it's like, it's not that I'm here to get something, but if I give from the right place and from the right listening, then the client wins. And when the client wins and get what they want, I win. It's like that. But it has been on a personal level, such an interesting journey for me as well, because I've had enough time to look at me. And there's been parts I haven't really known much about myself until this time. I've been reintroduced to things I don't really maybe like so much.
Yes, I can go with that one. I can absolutely go with that one. And I'm finding that though, that's interesting, because in all the interviews, there's little bits of people exploring, they're finding out more about, but it's growth. It's been an amazing process. And as you say, you're finding little bits that's helping, that might be uncomfortable, because that's what it's like, isn't it?
That's the word, uncomfortable. And I often say with clients as well, when it gets uncomfortable, just stick with it for a bit, because there's something in there that we've got to notice. But it's really good to give that advice to someone. It's a whole different thing, experiencing it for yourself. But I think the power in experiencing it for myself helps me understand what a client is going through as well. But yeah, uncomfortable is good.
Yeah. It is. It doesn't feel like that at the time now, but it doesn't. But it helps you kind of sit back, and it sounds like, it helps you kind of sit back, but see things from another perspective, isn't it? It's like it stops, and your mind stops, and you're able to see a wider kind of view of what's possible. Yeah. And as you say, that really helps with your clients, with being able to offer them other avenues as well. That's absolutely fantastic, Tess. And I'm wondering, because I've talked with other parents about family issues and family dynamics and things. I'm wondering, how's that kind of impacted on your kind of family life and, for you at the moment?
Well, it's been really interesting, because just before lockdown, a month before lockdown, I moved home. And so we were in a flux of change already. So it's kind of like we were hit with change, and then this other change came as well. It's had its challenges. I can say that living with a 14 and a 16-year-old isn't always perceived as easy, but because they're sort of holed up in their rooms a lot, there is less time for conflict and disagreement. But I think what has been really good is, for me personally as a parent, we've had our moments of disagreement, but I've been able to really see my children, really see them as they are in their own way, not as their mother or whatever. And that has sometimes caused me to reassess how I speak to them. I can't overly parent them anymore as teenagers. And so we've had some good times. We've watched a lot of movies together. It's often difficult to all choose and agree on one movie. So we've had to learn that whole compromise thing, which in this day and age, you don't really need to do you? Because everybody has their own device and you can go off in your own corner. So there's been that. There's been some walks outside in nature, few, because they're not really in an active stage of life. But I'd say on the whole, as much as it's been challenging, it's been really, really helpful as far as just coming back together as a unit and communicating on that level again without influences from school, friendships, and all that. Just a pure form of my children. So
yeah, that's really interesting, because that's something that I'm hearing a lot. It's almost like it's like re-engaging. It's almost like rediscovering, isn't it? Rediscovering what each of you are like, what your likes and dislikes, what your personality, and that there's the dynamics are intense, but it almost feels like an easier way, even though it's intense. It's bringing people together in a whole different way and rediscovering things about each other. So it's really interesting, isn't it?
it feels like it's, yeah, simpler, easy and simpler. It's not about attaining things or getting stuff or going to the shops or going out eating or going to the movies. It's just about the simple, more meaningful things in life, you know, that I think with society today, we've got so many options. We don't put enough attention on what that unit actually feels like and means, you know. So I think from that perspective, we're actually all very lucky. But then I say that I have some space and I don't have a big family in the home that I have to, you know, try and get away from to have my own space. So I think there's some people out there who wouldn't agree with me at all. And they'd say, it's a nightmare and I just want to go back to my office, you know, where it's peace and quiet and I can just be my worker person, you know, not a parent or a partner or something like that. So yeah,
that's true. The boundaries, as we've said, and talked about in other videos, is that's been a really difficult thing to actually find a balance with, is boundaries, especially when your work and your home, they're in the same place, your family's in the same place, everything's in the same place, and there has been extremely intense, but it's kind of, people have had to find other ways of trying to find their own, you know, space and negotiate different things, haven't? So it's been a very, very extraordinary, interesting time, Tess, hasn't it? And I'm wondering, you know, you have talked about the opportunities it has to broaden out your creativity and your work, and I'm wondering what other benefits it's brought into your life personally for you, you know, and for your children.
Interesting question, Mia.
Okay.
For me personally, I think, you know, I often talk about work-life balance. I don't think there is such a thing. I think we have to choose the balance that's right for us. And what I've loved about working from home again, which is something I used to do but didn't appreciate, for me, there is a lovely flow between being able to really immerse myself in my work in what I'm fortunate to have is a small office, and then step out into the kitchen and gather while we're having a cup of tea or some lunch or breakfast. For me, it seems like there's this complete flow. There's this, I don't know, work, home. I'm blessed with some nature surroundings so I can get out and walk. For me, there's just been more of a coming together in myself. I'm not extending unreasonably, although I have exhausted myself with a lot of online networking and things like that. But yeah, it's not, I don't know, I just feel more at peace. I notice my own ups and downs easier. And I'm grateful for that, because normally I kind of park that in my line of work, you know, park it because I'm dashing everywhere. Whereas here I can really sit and reflect. And that has been the best realization for me. And when we go back to normal, whatever that might look like, this is important for me to hold on to continue to have as part of my way forward. My quiet time in the morning, my reflection, my choosing of how I want my day to be. not being directed by what comes to me, but what I choose to put out there, because then I'm less impacted by what's happening in the world around me, you know. And I've been practicing that a lot. I teach it to my clients, but it's easier said than done. So it's little steps. And I'm being kind to me because I expect my clients to be kind to them. So I'm trying to take a spoon of my own medicine, you know.
Yeah.
And it's working really nicely.
I know. I really love that, and that is something else that's threading through all the interviews, is about that increased self-awareness of our own needs, and actually reintroducing ourselves and getting to know ourselves really more, and how important that self-care is. That there is that threading through. It's understanding what, you know, that time of kind of bringing us to a standstill almost, you know, in one place. That, but it's also about, now that we have that, now that we've felt that, now that we understand that more, it's about, we want to hold that boundary. And yeah, what you're saying is true. It's like people are thinking, how do I hold that boundary when we go back into this new normal, as people call it? You know, how do I, because I really want to. So there's something there about being able to help people strengthen that boundary for themselves, so they can still be able to reintroduce themselves, but hold on to this new learning, that they've got this new self-care.
Yeah. And, you know, if you think about it, for me, it's like it takes 21 days to make or break a habit. So we've been in lockdown for longer than 21 days. So something will have, I reckon, something will have adjusted or shifted and maybe locked in. But I would, for me, what I'm going to do is make sure I set those intentions every day. So how do I intend to treat my day or myself through the day? Because it's about being aware of what I'm choosing. And I think that is so important for all of us. Otherwise, we're just like a leaf blowing in the wind. Wherever the wind blows us, we'll go. And that isn't fulfilling. That's exhausting. I've done that. I've got a gold medal in blowing in the wind. So that setting of intention, just a simple decision every day, gives me something to focus on. If I feel I'm going off in the wrong way, pull myself back to that one thing I promised for the day. It's easy. And I think anybody can do that if they practice to do it. It doesn't happen. It's not magic. You know, it's not you wake up one day and it's all resolved. And it's about slowing down and just noticing what we're doing. That's what I think. And I think there's a lot of panic out there. And it's in here. It's not real, but it feels real because it's in our body, you know? And so speak out what you want it to be like and see how at the end of the day it went. And then tomorrow you tweak. That's light.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I love that. Now, I don't know who, I can't remember who coined this phrase, but I love this phrase, your word is your wand. And it's like, isn't it wonderful? Your word is your wand, and you're saying, speak out how you want your work, you know, your life to be. And it is, because that the way that we talk creates your life. So imagine, you know, it's I love that, your word is your wand. Remember, you have that magic wand, and it's the way that you express yourself. So yes, Tess, that's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for that. That was really great. And I'm wondering, I know we're kind of tie this up, and I'm really grateful for your insight, and there definitely is a similar thread going through people's lives, which is so interesting. We're all very different, but at the core, we all have this similar process of growing, awakening, feeling more about life, feeling more about ourselves, understanding more about ourselves, and moving forwards. And I just wonder, Tess, is there anything else that you would like to say to people out there? Is there any other advice or anything that you'd like to say?
Well, I think just the most important thing, and I know you agree on this entirely from the conversations we've had, and that is that, everybody's unique. We all are extremely special in our own right. We don't have to be like anybody else. And, the experience we're having here as we live our life is all about the choices and the journey we want to make, not what so-and-so's doing next door or in the office or, online. It's how we want to feel every day when we live. So you're unique, you're special, you're incredibly amazing, even if you're having the worst day ever. You're a human being and you're allowed to be up and down. I've had it. I'm sure you had
Oh
it.
yes.
And it's okay to be okay. That's my last bit of advice.
Oh, fabulous. It is okay. It's okay to be
Okay.
whatever you're feeling. It's okay.
Yes.
That's fabulous, Tess. Thank you so much. And I really hope you have a lovely day. Whatever you're deciding to do today, I hope you have a really great day.
Well, thank you so much. I think having spent time chatting to you, it's already a beautiful day. So thank you for that.
The sun is out. Yay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tess. Okay.
Thanks.
Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.